Imagine you're a Roman soldier, marching at dawn. A thick, heavy fog hangs over the still waters of a lake beside you. You can barely see the man in front of you. Your commander, Consul Gaius Flaminius, is furious. He's chasing a ghost, an enemy named Hannibal, who has humiliated Rome time and again. After crossing the treacherous Alps and winning stunning victories at the Ticinus and Trebia rivers, Hannibal Barca has been a thorn in the Republic's side. Flaminius, driven by a thirst for revenge and political glory, pushes his legions forward, ignoring all warnings of caution. He's convinced he has Hannibal on the run, but he's not chasing Hannibal. He's walking directly into his grasp. Welcome to one of the greatest and most terrifying ambushes in all of military history. The Battle of Lake Trasimene. This wasn't just a battle. It was a perfectly orchestrated slaughter, a testament to the cunning and psychological brilliance of one of history's most legendary generals. Hannibal knew his opponent. He understood Roman pride and, more importantly, Flaminius's aggressive, almost reckless ambition. So, instead of meeting the Romans on an open field, Hannibal handpicked his battlefield. He found a narrow valley on the northern shore of Lake Trasimene, flanked by steep, wooded hills on one side and the impassable lake on the other. It was a natural death trap. The only way in was the way you came. Under the cover of night, Hannibal meticulously arranged his army. He wasn't just hiding them. He was weaving a net. Along the length of the hills, overlooking the narrow path, he concealed the bulk of his veteran infantry, the Celts, Iberians, and Libyans who had followed him from Spain. They lay silent, hidden by the trees in the darkness, waiting for the signal. At the far end of the valley, blocking the exit, he placed his best heavy infantry and Spanish cavalry, forming an unbreakable wall. But the most ingenious part of the trap was behind the Romans. Hidden in the side gorge, completely out of sight, he stationed his elite Numidian light cavalry and Gallic horsemen. Their job was to seal the entrance once the Romans were inside, snapping the trap shut. Along the immediate shoreline, his light skirmishers and Balearic slingers blended into the terrain. By morning, Hannibal's entire army, over 40,000 strong, had vanished into the landscape. As the sun rose on that fateful day, June 21st to 17 BC, a dense morning fog rolled off Lake Trasimene, blanketing the valley in a shroud of white. It was the final piece of Hannibal's puzzle, a gift from nature that made his trap perfect. Flaminius, eager to catch his prey, ordered his army to march. The long Roman column, stretching 4 miles, entered the narrow pass. They marched in formation, but not for battle. They were on the move, their shields slung, their minds focused only on the road ahead. They saw nothing. They suspected nothing. The silence was absolute, broken only by the sound of thousands of marching feet and the clatter of Roman gear. The head of the column marched deeper and deeper into the fog, completely oblivious that they were being watched by tens of thousands of eyes. Once the very last Roman soldier had entered the valley, the trap was sprung. A single trumpet blast echoed through the hills. It was Hannibal's signal. From all sides, chaos erupted. The Carthaginians surged down from the high ground, a terrifying wave of steel and fury. The Celts and Iberians crashed into the flank of the surprised Roman line, their war cries mixing with the screams of the dying. Simultaneously, the cavalry that had been hidden behind them galloped out, sealing the entrance to the valley and attacking the Roman rear. The Romans were trapped, surrounded on 3 sides by Hannibal's army and on the 4th by the deep, cold waters of the lake. Panic was instantaneous and total. There was no room to form a battle line, no space to deploy their famous legionary tactics. It wasn't a battle, it was a massacre. Men were cut down where they stood, unable to even draw their swords. Formations dissolved into a terrified mob of individuals, each fighting for his own survival. Flaminius, the consul who had led them into this disaster, tried desperately to rally his men. He rode through the chaos, shouting orders, but his voice was lost in the din of slaughter. He was soon surrounded and killed, his body hacked to pieces. With their leader gone and all hope lost, the Roman will to fight shattered. Some men, driven by sheer terror, threw down their weapons and armor and tried to flee into the lake, only to be dragged down by the weight of their remaining gear and drowned. Others were ridden down by the ruthless Numidian cavalry. In the suffocating fog, friend and foe became indistinguishable. The sounds of battle, the cries for help, and the gurgling of drowning men filled the air. In just 3 short hours, it was over. An entire Roman consular army, nearly 30,000 men, had been annihilated. 15,000 were killed on the spot, while another 10,000 were captured. Hannibal, by comparison, lost only around 1,500 men, mostly Gauls who had borne the brunt of the initial charge. It was a victory so complete, so devastating, that it sent a shockwave of terror through the city of Rome itself. The Battle of Lake Trasimene stands as a chilling masterpiece of military deception. Hannibal didn't just defeat the Romans, he psychologically dismantled them before the first sword was even drawn. He used their own strengths, their discipline on the march, their commander's aggression as weapons against them. This victory solidified his reputation as a master strategist and paved the way for his most legendary triumph yet, a battle that would become the benchmark for tactical perfection for millennia to come. The Battle of Cannae. Thank you for watching. If you found this dive into military history fascinating, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories of strategy and conflict. See you next time.